Absolutely. Good to get back after the bye week. I think it was really beneficial for our team mentally, physically. Just an opportunity to get better, take a good look at ourselves. Obviously, the areas we need to improve, and we still have a quarter of the season left. So, it's up to us on how we decide to finish. I trust our team. I believe in our team, and we'll be excited to get back on the field today and start our prep for Murray. So, with that, I'd also like to acknowledge Veterans Day and thank you for your service and what you do for our country. Really, it's hard to put into words and thank you enough. So, just like to acknowledge that as well.
Mark, we've lost a couple of our media colleagues just recently who proudly served the military. A lot of Demery and Oscar Woodall. Anything in particular you'd like to say to their friends, family? They were big fans.
Yeah, they were, and I acknowledge that when it happened in here. I don't think you were here, John, but just two guys I really respect and I thank for their service, and I miss them being in here, and covering us. They were always, brought a lot to the room, and worked with them for a long time. So, again, my condolences to their family.
Mark, there's no SEC availability report this week, so anything you want to share about Brock and Barry on and those guys?
Yeah, not right now. Just not right now. We'll update you later in the week. I'm always trying to be as forthcoming as I can. It's just there's a lot going on, and for me to just get into all the little nuances of that just doesn't make sense right now. So we'll see how the week goes. We'll be better. Certainly some guys will be better than they've been, and some others will still be evaluating.
When you're down a lot of players, especially during a bye week, how beneficial is it to get the underclassmen some reps, I guess, with the one?
Yeah, I think that's very key, for them, just for our coaches to get out there and work with them, a lot of one-on-one time, and a lot of guys, just getting elevated reps, like you said, either getting number one reps or number two reps, but getting coached and getting pushed and seeing all of our schemes. And so, it was very good.
What's kind of the mood of the team right now as they hit the backstretch?
I'll see them about 1:45. So I think they needed the weekend, and so I saw a couple of them up in the hallway today, and they were bouncing around and smiling and having fun and enjoyed their weekend. And we'll see them today, and I'm sure they'll be moving around good.
You mentioned on your coach's show last week that you're expecting Max to be back. In his absence, how did you see those other quarterbacks, especially Teron, kind of grow with more playing?
Yeah, I think Teron is a guy that's getting better, better and better, with every rep. He's a true freshman and went out there and held his own and played really hard and played really well. JQ's another one that's doing some good things, and DJ as well. We need all of them to be at 100%, and that's been a while since we've had the whole group even close to 100%. So it'll be good to try to get some depth.
Mark, I know from everything we hear and reading the rankings and so forth, you're doing well in recruiting. What are you hearing from recruits while you're going through this kind of tough period?
Yeah, the recruits, have been really steady, and for us, I think there's got to be a good balance. After going through a year like this, we're not used to this. We haven't gone to we've gone to a bowl game for 8 straight years. I know, I know we want more than that, than just going to a bowl game, but to think that that's just simple to do. I mean, we could be down to 2 in the SEC that have done that, after this year. So, if we don't finish very strong and, take it one game at a time and win this one and try to finish as strong as we can, but it's not as easy as it appears. Just take a good look at the great programs in this conference that to have a year off here or there, it happens. So we want to stay away from that. But I think that's where the balance comes in with high school recruiting, and we're off to a terrific start. We have some really good players that I believe some of them can come in and contribute and help. But as you know, the portal will be key as well. I mean, look at some of the teams and the transformation they've made from the portal.
So, and to follow up on that, I mean, sometimes I've heard coaches say when we have a year where we've struggled or whatever, sometimes it is easier to recruit because they know there might be spots available or might be playing time available. I don't know if easier is the right word, but you can recruit that way.
I think it's evidenced by, again, look at history in this league. Look at some teams that maybe hadn't gone to a bowl game and the way they've bounced back and done some very good things. I think opportunity is important to the portal players. And, I just got to make sure I get out and continue to try to fundraise and raise some money to put a roster together.
The portal, you can turn the rosters over so quickly. How do you balance the young guys that maybe played more because of your injuries and weren't ready right now, projecting, like, could they be in those roles next year, or do you need to go find a portal person to fill those holes?
Absolutely, some of those players will be participating next year, and a lot of them helped this year in certain ways. And as I mentioned, I'm not ready to anoint any one player. I think we need to stay away from that because everybody gets talking, and in this world, it's just doesn't need to happen. I love the group in general. I really do. I think we have a good young team. We've consistently said that. I've said that since this summer. And, I still feel that way. They've contributed. They've had great attitudes. They continue to work, and they will help us. And this, everybody needs to stay away from the notion of like, people want to spin it. Oh, coach is saying he needs to go get a portal. He doesn't have a good enough portal. That's not true. Ask any player on our team if they want better players with them. All good players want other good players. That makes everything better, everybody better. Competition is good. It's healthy. Our players want good players. So I love our roster. I love our young kids. But to think that you don't need to supplement it is just stupid. I mean, you obviously need to supplement it.
Mark, is the rule change, not the rule change, but the SEC coming out and saying you're all going to have 85 as we've reported, did that change anything for you already?
Yes.
Was that a surprise to you and the coaches?
I don't know if the word is surprise. I don't like that headline. Just continue to take the information that's given to us and adjust and make the best decisions we can. There was nothing ever set in stone. So were we looking at options off working on different numbers? Yes, of course.
Mark, obviously respecting Murray State as an opponent, but how much is Saturday just an opportunity for some refreshment? Just walk off the field with the wind, and get the vibes back higher, because it's been a few weeks.
Well, I'll never, we don't ever assume anything. I think our team. I mean, we need to go play here. We've shown that we can play with anybody, but we can also lose to anybody. And there's a lot of teams like that. So we always respect our opponents. But anybody will tell you it is truly about us and our mentality and how we prepare and how we play and all those things that go into it, and turnovers and just different things. But Jody Wright is one heck of a football coach. I know he's not having the year that he wants. It's his first year there. He has work to do, but he's been in player personnel at some of the best places in the country. He's coached with some great coaches. He knows what he's doing. He's a good football coach, and he will build that program the right way. And I'm sure it's been hard for him, like it's been hard for us. It's been a tough year. But all we're concerned about is today's practice and this week and trying to get a victory the best way we can. I've been saying it, and we hadn't done it in the last 4 weeks, but we need to walk off the field with victory. Yeah, definitely.
Early in your tenure, getting to that postseason, such a big part of it was getting the 15 extra practices and really kind of building things. Is the importance of those practices diminished a little when there is so much roster turnover?
Yes and no. That's a hard question. To say that, if I said that, then that's not true, because it is, maybe to certain players, but to the overall, to the big picture, things change quickly. And again, that's they're both equally as important. I think, building the right roster is extremely important, but continuing to develop your young players is always important.
Mark, from the Auburn game in Tennessee, what progression did you see in that?
Just confidence in reps. He still will have a play that'll stick out that, maybe, he wished he could do it over. But again, he's playing some very good players. He's playing good guys that give a lot of people problems. So he's getting very valuable experience in understanding what it takes. He has the right mindset, he has the right mentality, and that's what you like, and he has the ability. So we just got to continue to bring him along.
Mark, you mentioned the fundraising part of it, which is just a reality these days in football. Is that harder when you go through a season that maybe hasn't hit your standards yet, or is it?
I hope it sparks. I've seen it at other SEC institutions. It spark it. And I really want to stay away from that, because I really get tired of it. I don't want to be like I'm whining or I'm crying or I need, it is reality. I hope we all understand that, right? I mean, it is true reality. Like you have to have dollars.
When you have somebody as talented as Hairston go out, not be available for so many weeks, there's an obvious domino effect of the rest of the team. When he's back, is it just a matter of plug and play, or what type of adjustments?
He's been working his way into it, obviously non-contact and off the side, and last week was working his way in with no contact, and so he's a guy with so many snaps under his belt, and he has been, working on running, conditioning, footwork. He's been doing that, and then last week doing football drills, so hopefully he could be, near or close to 100%.
Mark, as you mentioned, you've shown you can play with anybody. You beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss. What Ole Miss did to Georgia on Saturday. As a coach, is that something you tell your team, remind your team, or do they pretty much know that? Or
I think they pretty much know that, but I mean, I don't need it for motivation. But as we talk today, it'll be part of the choice we make how we finish this season.
Mark, there's been I think Texas Tech, LSU, Texas, there's a lot of these schools where fans are throwing trash on the field after a call they don't like. Have you ever been you've seen a lot of football, you ever been in a game where there's stuff thrown around and
I don't think so, no.
What do you think about that entering the game, though, where the fans are trying to get more involved, though?
Yeah, it's I think any coach, any player, anybody participating does not want to see that, I don't want to point out any school. I really don't know who you're talking about from this past weekend. I didn't see every game or anything, but I think anybody will tell you that they don't want any part of that. Back when I was an athletic director, I did work once in a while the Browns games on Sunday. That was in the old stadium when they had the dog pound, and they threw some crazy stuff in there too. So that was the last time I saw that. I think they used to throw batteries and snowballs and crazy stuff,
I think on the radio show last week, maybe joking, maybe not. Somebody asked you about Jacob Coway, and you said, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want people to look at it. But in reality, is that something you have to think about?
Yeah, but they see him anyway. They watch him in warm-ups. So, it's reality. We all got to protect our players as best we can. We've been fortunate, we lose guys, but we've been relatively fortunate. But that's not to say we've lost guys that have chosen to go and try to get reps right away, then stay and maybe play a year or two later. I think that development, part of it, cost us a bit this year. There were some guys that I thought, just if I asked them point blank, are you ready to play? They'd say absolutely not, but they're going to go somewhere else. I'm like, well, then stay here and work and get better and continue to grind. And I think, definitely that part of it, may hurt you. It has hurt us. But we've been able to keep, normally our tier 1 guys, for the most part. And, hopefully we'll continue to do that.
Mark, how do you feel about Gavin and about Cutter this week if Brock is out? How do you feel about each of them and how they're doing?
We have confidence in both of those guys. But we'll see how the week progresses.
Normally during bye weeks, you get a chance to watch a few football games. Were you able to?
Yeah, I definitely watched a few games. There were some games that were hard not to watch. Right, there were some pretty good games, and I had an opportunity to watch some of that. Yeah.
What stood out to you?
There was a lot of my friends playing, so I'll just keep it tight to the vest, So, but there was some good football, and what does stand out in our league is how challenging it is, and us, I think, you hear that and people talk about it, but try living it. It's pretty difficult, and I think some coaches, you see some great coaches at some great institutions, and you see a lot of people in our league, and it's tough.
With regard to this season, I think I've heard you say, I don't want to misquote you, you've been disappointed but not defeated.
Correct.
And I know you don't pay a whole lot of attention to this, but there's a lot of chatter out there where speculation, innuendo, whatever, people are saying that, hey, you've had enough, you're going to step down at the end of the year, chuck it all, and enjoy life. Can you put those
That
to rest?
just very briefly, 0% chance I do that. So, next question. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, when you're, back to what John was asking, when you're watching a game on a bye week, when you're just watching football, do you watch it from a coach's standpoint, or are you looking for plays or stuff, or do you want to just separate yourself and
No, definitely.
Enjoy an adult beverage and watch it.
Well, maybe enjoy an adult beverage, but still learning, still watching the game. Just the flow of it, the calls, the way people are setting things up, what people may catch somebody in, both with an offensive play or a defensive call. I'm constantly watching it, trying to learn. You're always trying to just get a feel for it and continue to improve that football IQ. I encourage our players to do that. Just constantly watch, when they're watching ball, just, take in the football IQ piece. You know what I mean? Just if somebody has 3 guys around them and next thing you know there's a face mask or something crazy, sometimes that's unavoidable, or a late hit is avoidable. Just basic things. A lot of times I encourage them to watch, because I do think young people are very into other things,
Mark, given the level of competition, I thought the first quarter at Tennessee was the best the Kentucky offense had looked. Now that you've had time to study that, is that replicable?
Yeah, I agree, and was encouraged with the way they competed, played. I thought physically we showed up a little bit against really high competition in a tough environment. Really encouraged by Brock's performance in a very tough environment, tough defense, very good front, good cover guys, just, tough all the way around. That's what we have to get used to and be able to compete at that level all the time.
Was it just that the pass blocking was better than it has been in that quarter?
I think, you put it all together. I thought it started, with an explosive run, and then, that always catches people's attention, and even the tough runs, the dirty runs, the 4 or 5 yarders, and then that sets up some play action, and it lets you, protect a little better on first, second down. I think, yeah. We'll stop there.
Mark, it doesn't feel like
Something to build on. Sorry.
Just doesn't feel like we maybe asked or talked about him much this season. But what have you thought about the year that Jordan Love has had?
What, Jordan Lovett?
Just what do you think of the season he's had?
Jordan's a good football player. Yeah, and I love his passion. He cares a great deal, and just like anybody that plays the game. You're going to have some high moments and some low moments, and make some mistakes, and if he makes a mistake in a critical moment, it eats him up, and you appreciate that, that caring and that passion, because he does a lot of good things, and he really cares about his teammates and how he plays for all of us.
It wasn't about the Tennessee game that was the game you all finally decided to just give Jamarion the ball over and over and over again.
I think that there's been a lead up to it. Who was it prior to Tennessee? Auburn. I think we had some plays for him. We didn't, we didn't play very well, as you know, in that game across the board. And so not so much on him, but maybe some design runs and some plays and some things we had specifically for him we kind of got out of. But in this next game, it was a bit intentional. I wanted to continue to see him get the ball. And, sometimes we're going to have to learn on the run a little bit with some of that, because he definitely has some talent that can make people miss and play at a very high level. But, there's still growth to have there. And again, that's not like like all of our players. There's all of our players got to continue to grow and get better.
Mark, on the RPO, you guys are leading the SEC in total yards per attempt, but you average the least amount of RPOs. Is that something you guys are looking at putting in more for some more success rates, both passing and running?
I think that's more that, yes, we have to get better at it as well when we, whether it's the reads or whether it's the scheme or how we set it up. But, yeah, I'm not sure your information is exactly like ours, but you know what I mean? Because people don't always know what we have played and or called and what we check to and what we do and all that. So, but yeah, it's definitely something that we need to take advantage of, especially when you're running the ball well.
All right, everybody good?
Good. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.